Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. I do apologize for my voice. I am currently going through some sickness, but today's topic is something that I'm really passionate about and I wanted to speak on, so let's just jump right into it. And based off of the title, today we're going to be talking about the fear of doing tarot wrong, and I'm going to touch on my stance on it, and from that, why there's no wrong way to do tarot, where the fear might stem from of feeling this way, and some practical ways to build some confidence around that. So while I talk, I have some decks out that I'm just going to be flipping through so you have something nice to look at. So I have Tarot of the Animal Lords, the Two Bugs Tarot, and Crystal Visions Tarot. So let's just hop right in. So when I was first starting out and learning tarot, I came across very different opinions about tarot. And tarot is a system. It has prescribed meanings to the cards, but when it comes to reading the tarot, I wholeheartedly believe that there is no wrong way to read it. And I will die on this hill like forevermore because of the reasons we're going to discuss. So let's talk a little bit about why there is no wrong way to do tarot. So the first thing is that tarot is about personal intuition, meaning the meanings behind the cards, the traditional meanings, are important. They give you a structure and a basis to go off of, but everyone's personal interpretation matters just as much. We are all different people. We experience sadness and grief and happiness differently, even though we all might have gone through grief before. Each one of us processes that grief differently. It looks different, it feels different for every single person. So the fact that tarot is a tool to help you through things, to help as a guiding point, there's just no way that you can do tarot wrong. You're going to take the messages as they are in that moment. And each day we learn and we're growing. No day is alike in our own personal journeys. Even though we might get wrapped up in the mundane and it might feel like we're the same person, every second that goes by, we are someone different. And our personal interpretations are always changing. So therefore, the meanings behind the tarot are always evolving. The second reason why there's no wrong way to do tarot is, again, tying into the fact that symbols speak differently to everyone. For example, a sword might mean something scary to one person, but it might mean power to another. So every symbol speaks vastly different to everyone. Two readers interpret the same card differently, and that is perfectly okay. And in fact, that's why I love being part of the tarot community, especially here on YouTube, so much, because I learn different layers all the time about the cards and their meanings based on how others read those cards, and it's always mind-opening to me. I never have a closed mind when I come across an interpretation and I'm like, well, I wouldn't really describe it that way. I don't do that, because what I do is I take a lesson from that and I write it down and I think about it and I draw my own conclusions to it, and my own personal interpretations start to form around that. So that's the real beauty of it, is that each and every symbol has different meanings to every person. The third reason why there's no wrong way to do tarot is even experienced readers doubt themselves. No one is always 100% confident 100% of the time. Just like life is a journey and it is not a test. You don't pass or fail tarot. That's just not how it works. And it was designed to be so much more than that. If we always took it at surface level, then the creators, or however tarot came to be in this world, is failing. If we always take it at face value, it's just so much more nuanced. There's so many books and resources out there and systems of tarot because it's just that deep. And the fourth reason why there's no wrong way to do tarot is there should not be any tarot police. No one should be calling you out for not following a rule book, right? For interpreting a card differently. I just don't believe in that. I don't believe in telling someone that their viewpoint and their experiences are wrong just because they're different from mine. I think that's the key here. Different is not wrong. Now let's move into understanding a little bit more of where the fear comes from and maybe some ways that we can release it. So the first way, and I've touched on this a lot already, but those external pressures. So seeing expert readers or online resources or reputable sites or figures, it can make people feel like all of their readings must be profound or perfect or make sense. But I want you to remember that everyone has started out on the same playing field as beginners, as the Fool. Tarot is about your journey, about your work with it. And comparison is not helpful. And just because someone seems like they might be at a more expert level and maybe they say something that doesn't resonate with you at a certain card, it doesn't make them wrong or right, and it doesn't make you wrong or right. I take it as like a learning thing. Just add it to your playbook when you learn something new about the tarot, when you learn a new keyword or interpretation, or when you feel something different. It's just being added to your repertoire. It's not taking away from what you've already learned. It's just being added to it. So another place or reason why this fear might crop up is the fear of giving a wrong message, and I'm speaking to not only those who read for themselves, but for those who especially read for other people. I think it can get really difficult sometimes if we have a client where nothing seems to be resonating, or maybe they aren't as into the reading as you might feel that they are, right? However that vibe is happening, the fear of giving the wrong message in a reading. I know I've had that feeling sometimes, even with myself, because I'm supposed to know myself the best out of anyone, right? And even when I read for family and friends, which is all I read for, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to resonate with them, or, but a good solution to that, or a piece of advice on how to release that, is tarot is, this is tough to say because everyone uses tarot for different reasons, and you can use it for predictive readings, but for me, and the type of reader I am, and for my audience, which is you, I believe most of you use tarot as something to guide you, not predict. So in a reading with someone else, you're offering insight, not the absolute truth. You're offering what could happen or what could be a potential outcome, right? You're not saying this is set in stone. Again, tarot, just like ourselves, we're always in flux. So the tarot is as well. And the meanings change too. Like how I've come to know and learn temperance in the beginning is so much different now. And it's not that temperance's meaning has changed, it's just the meaning within me has changed. But that is still valid, right? Another reason why this fear might crop up is not knowing every card meaning by heart, and that anxiety and worry that you need to memorize everything before reading. And I'm going to tell you that you don't. It's okay to use a guidebook or look things up. It's okay to use your intuition. I know people who have jumped right into tarot and they're like, I don't know the meanings, I'm just reading this intuitively based on what I'm seeing in the pictures. And I often think, wow, how freeing must that be, because you haven't prescribed any pressure on yourself or any meaning just yet. You're just literally reading this picture that you see. And I think that's so beautiful. But it's okay to have to use a guidebook or look things up, or even not to know what the card is trying to tell you in that moment. And this is a lesson that I am working through right now, is I don't have to know what the Emperor is trying to tell me right in this moment. Maybe he came up in a lighthearted, fun question, but he's kind of not this lighthearted, fun kind of guy. So what does that mean? And sitting with that meaning and trying to think on it or letting it unfold over time. I think that's really important to remember too. And then the last is that I think there's some overthinking sometimes about the right way to shuffle, the right way to pull a card, the right way to lay out the card, the right way to read the card, in what order do I read them? There's that whole overthinking process sometimes, that there's a certain ritual or order that you must follow. But there are so many ways to shuffle and so many ways to pull cards, and I find that truly fascinating. I love watching how people shuffle cards and pick cards because it's so different from how I do it, and I don't know, I just find it fascinating. I don't let it hinder what I'm doing. It's all about doing what feels most natural to you. And if that changes and evolves over time, that's also okay to do as well. So let's try to bring this into like the actionable, practical ways to build a little bit more confidence in your tarot practice. If you feel like you are doing tarot wrong, or if that's always hanging around in your head, you have to let go of the need for perfection. Read for yourself, read for others with zero expectations. Just pull a card and reflect on it. And oftentimes what I try to remember is that first intuitive hit, go with that. Don't question it. Just open that up for more. A second tip is to use journaling to explore your own meanings. So instead of trying to memorize everything, all the meanings, write down what you feel when you see a card, how it resonates with you. And that's why I decided to create this journal here, because how I have it set up is that every time I draw the, where are we? 7 of Wands, I note that down and I write about the spread that it was in and what I got from it. And then I'm able to go back and I can see just how much I've grown or I've interpreted it differently, because it is always evolving and is always changing. And then this becomes like a mastermind of my growth and my understanding of the tarot. And it's really a beautiful thing to have. So I highly recommend, in some way, it doesn't have to be this structured. It can literally just be a journal and you write down the card or the spread that you were doing and how those cards made you feel. It really doesn't matter, but I've noticed that being able to go back and read about the different cards I've pulled at various times is super helpful to me. It's really insightful to take a look on. Another thing you can do is start with small, low stakes readings. So pulling those daily draws just for fun, just literally for fun. I think that can take off the pressure. When you're feeling like tarot is becoming too heavy or it's too structured, then you have forgotten that tarot can be fun and the fun side of it. You could use a really fun deck, like the Two Bugs Tarot here, to really draw out that fun side. Just have fun with it. Low stakes, daily card pulls. Don't tie any super deep meanings to it. Just what comes out from that. What is the first word that comes to your mind? And just have fun. Another thing you could do is, if you have a trusted friend in your life that you can read the tarot without judgment, then I would practice with the trusted friend. I mean, there's no better way to learn the tarot than learning it with someone alongside of you, right? Again, if you don't have that in-person trusted friend, then you have this whole community here. And there are so many people learning tarot for the first time, and once you start and you dip your toe in tarot, you are a lifelong learner of tarot. So all of us here are continuously learning. The fifth tip I have is to treat tarot like a conversation and not a test. So let the cards speak to you rather than you forcing an answer on the tarot, if that makes sense. Don't get so wrapped up in, oh, Ace of Pentacles, it means growth and opportunity for growth and abundance and wellness and richness, right? And that is definitely one way you can read this card. And again, it factors into, what is it next to? Didn't realize we had 2 Ace of Pentacles right here, but these two read very differently and you can pull different things out of each one. And I think that's another reason why I love having so many different types of decks, is the feelings and the vibes are so different. And what I pull from this deck is going to be so different from what I pull from this deck. But overall, in general, let the cards speak to you. So let them bring forward those feelings we were talking about earlier when we spoke about journaling. Let those feelings kind of bubble up in you and let those speak to you rather than you forcing an answer on the tarot. And the last tip I have is to try free-flowing readings. And what I mean about that is to pull a few cards and create a story. And literally you can sit down and say, once upon a time, and go through like that storybook. What is the story? How are the cards communicating with one another? What is the story that they're telling from beginning to end? Let that story unfold without overanalyzing it. Just kind of let your imagination go wild. All in all, My point today was that there's no universal right way to read tarot, and your intuition and your personal connection to the cards are truly what matters. Don't fall into the trap of someone saying, if you are not reading the Ten of Wands in this way, then you are wrong, because that's simply not true. I offer and extend encouragement to everyone as they continue their journeys. Just know that we're always here in the tarot community. Specifically, I have a very amazing group of subscribers here that are so supportive. So lean on each other, right? Let's lean on each other and encourage one another that we're all just doing our best, and that is perfect enough. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Thank you for hanging in there with me and my voice as I talk through these things. I hope you are doing well, and until next time, see you around.